So you don't have time to consume an entire podcast. That's okay. Enjoy the highlights on TRS Clips. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon. Are you familiar with the Freemasons thing?
Yes, of course.
Would you like to enlighten the listeners who are just curious about this whole Illuminati angle and Freemasons?
Right. So the Freemasons are supposed to be, they are known to be a secret society of sorts.
Yeah.
They're not very secret nowadays, but there is some aspect of the Freemasons that is like open to all. Like there are these Freemason lodges or chapters in various countries in the world, including in India.
Okay.
And so the Freemasons started off as maybe a Jewish cult, not a cult, but a society of some kind. It was a very secret society and it was persecuted in Europe during the Middle Ages, etc. That's why they became very secretive. And it is alleged that they hold the reins of power in Europe and across the world. And they have chapters across the world, including in India. Many prominent Indians were Freemasons. They were members of the Freemason society.
Supposedly like?
Rudyard Kipling was one. He was obviously British born, but British. Swami Vivekananda.
Really?
Absolutely. You look at the website of the Freemasons, the Indian chapter, and you will see the pictures of all the prominent Indian Freemasons. One was Swami Vivekananda, one was Motilal Nehru, and J.R.D. Tata most likely.
Right.
So several prominent Indians of the past have been members of the Freemason society.
Maybe the long-term objective is just to survive and
Perhaps to
continuously
survive.
hoard power.
Perhaps to survive, perhaps to rule the world, perhaps to rule the world from behind the scenes without drawing attention to where the real power lies. Perhaps to distract the world into believing the power lies in X place, but it actually lies in Y place. These are conspiracy theories, but it's possible. It's theoretically possible.
No, I believe there was a rival society called the Moors, if I'm not mistaken.
The Moors.
Yeah, it was a whole Masons versus Moors thing.
I see.
And one of the narratives I've read is that it was primarily white people versus primarily black people.
The Moors are supposed to be the African origin invaders of Europe, the Islamic invaders of Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were obviously African people.
Yeah. And what I read is that Africa from ancient times was actually a very rich continent.
Yes.
Governed by Moors. And if you actually speak to Nigerian, Ghanaian people today, they talk about their own history in a very prolific manner. They say that, no, listen, we were a very rich part of Africa. And the same with Ethiopia, etc. Which is at the other far end of Africa.
Yes.
History is written by the winners of war. What is said is that there could have possibly been a massive war between the Masons and the Moors. And all this is just speculation. But this is what I've read. There could have been a massive war between the Masons and Moors. The Masons came out on top. It wasn't white versus black. It was Masons and Moors where there were white and black on both sides. But the Masons came out on top and they rewrote African history in a very negative, broken manner. So the same narratives that we have in Indian culture where we blame the British for spoiling our education system, spoiling our mindset, giving us that victim mentality, not opening up the economy till 1990. Similar narratives exist in Africa today as well, where a lot of Africans have a very low sense of self-esteem. And I know this because of a lot of African YouTubers I met. I met someone called Wode Maya. He's a Ghanaian YouTuber whose main purpose right now as a YouTuber is to kind of help the narrative of Africa all over the world.
I see.
So this bad narrative of Africa has also led to increasing worldwide racism against black people in general. But anyway, that's what so-called powerful societies like the Freemasons can do over 100 or 200-year time period.
Quite possible. They can, if you have a secret society that is very powerful, you can orchestrate world events from behind the scenes and then blame somebody else for it. It's quite possible.
And psychologically affect an entire generation.
Yes, it can destroy entire societies and deracinate them, brainwash them, make them see themselves as very inferior. That sort of thing has been seen over and over again.
Yeah. I also feel power is strongly dictated by where the money is at. So I am sure that if you just scan big money shifts over the last 200 years, you'll be able to kind of spot where the Freemasons were at. Like how the Kohinoor diamond landed up in the UK or all of India's ancient wealth landed up in the UK. Bharat was split up into 4 countries, etc., etc. So what you're saying about the modern day Freemasons definitely could be in Europe, could be in America. But if you had to guess where and who the modern day Freemasons are, what would be your guess?
I would imagine it could be possibly somewhere in Europe or America, maybe split across both the continents. It's actually just one entity. And if you're really rich and really powerful, borders don't mean anything. You can go and reside anywhere in the world. So if the Freemasons do exist, they will be residing in open sight, but they will not draw attention to themselves. And they'll be so rich that nothing matters. And they will try and pretend like they are powerless or whatever. I mean, if you are that rich, you want to hide in plain sight and not display any outward signs of wealth or power. So it could be in continental Europe, Western Europe, or in the US, North America, most probably.
I'd actually love the listeners of this podcast at this point to drop your comments in terms of everything you have read about the Illuminati, Freemasons, so that we can take this part of the discussion further the next time.